Welcome, friends. This is the podcast Resonant. I'm here with a special guest. He's been a mayor of McAllen. Has been for 2 terms, and now he's serving as the Hidalgo County Judge. Mr. Richard Cortez, welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for inviting me, Luis.
No problem. I think that at some point we all stopped looking into what it was important to be productive, and they started to only get into those fights, politic fights and all of that, and they've just forgot about, explaining what they want to do with the country.
You're going after votes. And to me, as county judge, Luis, I care about public opinion, but what's important to me is what is the right thing to do, okay? Because I feel that if I do the right thing, the votes would follow. Because if the public is wrong, if the public is asking me to do something that I don't agree with, and I want to do it because I want the public to agree with me, that I'm doing the wrong thing, okay? So to me, I don't want this job if I have to do what the public tells me. I want this job to exercise my own judgment based on the best analysis that I can, to come up with the best decision. In a perfect world, there's a perfect solution to everything, but we don't live in a perfect world. There's not going to be a perfect solution, but there's a better way of doing it, and that's what I'm looking for.
And let me go back a little bit on that, because you're a county judge, and because the profile, the type of audience that we have, some of them don't even understand what is a county judge. So if you can tell us a little bit, what are your duties as a county judge?
Sure. The county judge is kind of like the mayor of a city. The county, we have 254 counties in Texas. The state legislature created counties because they wanted us to have a courthouse, a judicial system. They wanted us to have a jail, a detention center. They want us to have somebody that can take care of records, elections, law enforcement. So the county is kind of like the city for the areas that are not municipalities, and the county judge is the
administrator,
head.
The manager.
He's the head of the governor of the governor. So I have 4 commissioners. We divide the county in four areas. Mm-hmm. The commissioners are in charge mostly of roads and bridges. And the county judge, I deal with other areas, economic development, the health department, and other areas of government.
Now, the Hidalgo County, it's a unique county, not only because it's a border county, which is very different than any other county, but because of the size of the county. Is that right?
Yes, Hidalgo County, we're the 7th most populous county in Texas, and we are a border county, and that presents unique opportunities, but unique situations that we have to deal with.
What was the difference between being a mayor of McAllen, just one city, and then expanding to be a county judge? Because it's kind of like a similar role, but on a bigger scale.
Oh, Luis. I tell everyone that city government is vertical. You have the mayor, the commissioners, the city manager. Everything goes up and down as far as authority. In the county, I'm one of 46 elected officials.
Okay.
So we're horizontal. Okay. Once we give a budget to the sheriff, to the district attorney, to the treasurer, to the JPs, to a judge, then they're elected officials. Then they do what they want to do with that budget to perform their services. Unlike cities, so it's very different. And in the cities have multiple sources of revenue. So when I was mayor of McAllen, I had sales tax revenues, bridge revenues. We even made money in our golf course. We had all kinds of sources of revenues. In the county, we only have one source of revenue that comes from ad valorem taxes.
Now, the struggles of Hidalgo County itself, because I've seen you, in different events trying to, obviously on the economic development, you're doing a great job, and you're trying to improve, what is the county. But what are the struggles that you can pinpoint as the main ones for the Hidalgo County right now?
We have to diversify our economies. We come from agro-based economies. We were ranchers and farmers, and we converted now to a service industry type. Our jobs are, if you work for the government, if you work in retail, and you work in healthcare, those are where most of our jobs are. The jobs of tomorrow are not going to be the jobs of today. So we have a lot of unskilled people that if technology and robotics takes their jobs away, then what are they going to do? So the biggest challenge that we have is how do we transition to the economies of the future, and we transition to the economies of the future by having the workforce for the future. I think that's the direction that I certainly would want to take this county. The other things that we have is that we have a large population of non-citizens, people that live here, and I feel sorry for them because they need to be free to move around and do all the things that normal people do, but because they're not here legally, then they kind of live, what I call behind the walls. So we need to figure out what to do with them so they can become legal. That population is very important to our economies. Someone says, well, who wants illegals here? I said, well, listen, it's a balancing scale. Yes, some of this illegals, we're a country of laws, we're a country of rules. We want them to be legal, but they're also consumers. As you know, I'm a certified public accountant. We had clients in New Mexico and Texas, and when New Mexico started getting really anti-immigrant, one of our hamburger franchise clients, they lost 40% of their business. Okay, so that's how important they are to our economy.
And you said, and you're right. I mean, I did some research, obviously, on what it was, how the county has shifted from what it was to what it is right now, and a lot of that influence is because we have a neighbor that it's mainly maquiladora based, so they have to come up with a lot of training, education for all those jobs. And at some point, this is a region. We communicate with them a lot. So that's also shifted this way, and that's going to be the potential future. So the education is something that has to be addressed, at some point. And we've seen that in the county, all the universities, the main Texas universities have a presence here, and they're growing and growing. They're doing their part.
Yes, that's one of the assets that we have is we have access to higher learning, and that's been very important. I think one of the things that we can't ignore is the access to quality of life. Art, music is a big part of the pleasures of life. So we need to make sure that we pay attention to those things also.
And before we get into that, we have also struggled with the water. That's been something that it's not only here but also in Mexico, and there's going back and forth with the water, and that's something that has to be addressed or falls into your desk at some point. That what are going to be the next steps, how that's going to be addressed, and it's been an issue.
I think it's going to be an issue for a long time because we cannot be dependent just on weather for our water. As you know, our watershed comes from northern Mexico, and northern Mexico gets it partly from the Rocky Mountains. So we depend on each other for the water. The tributaries are sending less water to the river. People are urbanizing north of us. So as they're urbanizing north of us, they're taking more water out by the time it comes to us. So we're looking, in fact, we're about to hire some consultants to help us find alternative sources of water and see what we can do in the future to do that. We have groundwater, but it's brackish. It takes more money to use it. You can't use it for farming because it kills the crop. So we have a lot of work to do in that area.
Some of the struggles that we've seen is that a lot of our, residents, especially kids that go to school and they have good schools here, but sometimes they leave, so they don't stay. So we're starting to find out, and I know you're being proactive of finding ways to keep him here, not necessarily because you want to keep him here, but depending on what we can offer, is how you can make him to stay and grow that part of it.
Yeah, we have a brain drain here, Luis. Actually, we've done a fairly good job in creating some human capital. But once they graduated, they were not rewarded here because the jobs were not here, so they had to leave. And this is why I get a little frustrated with those that are in charge of economic development, because it's like a real estate salesman where you go to says, "Hey, I've got a house to sell," and the real estate agent says, "Oh, let me go put a sign." Okay, well, that's not really selling your house. You just put a sign that says you're offering it for sale. We need to go after somebody to buy the house. We need to find out, who would like this house? Where would I find such a customer that would like this house with a family of 5 that needs 4 bedrooms? Do all to give you the highest probability of success. And so what I've asked people here in the Valley, I said, okay, my own office, we had 20 leads, and we could only serve 2. And I asked my economic development person, I said, okay, well, what did you do with the other 18? He said, well, nothing. I just put them aside. I said, well, didn't you review why we couldn't attract them? Did you review to see what was missing that we couldn't do? Did you find out where they went to? If they didn't come here, where did they go to? Isn't that information important? Okay, because if I want to attract certain companies, I need to know what they want, what they need. So if I don't have those things, then I know what to go after, so we can be in a better position to attract them.
I've been to some events where you have, spoken about the big word of nearshoring. The nearshoring is everywhere. Everyone talks about nearshoring. I've been to many events. Some of you have participated, and I've seen you as someone who's willing to be prepared to when that happens, which in fact it's already happened. It's happening right now. But I see a lot of people that are not, I kind of like, they talk about it, they know what's it, but they're not like really doing. They're not being proactive. Are we being proactive in Hidalgo County? I know you are. But I mean, is the rest of the county?
We're starting to be, okay. But a lady friend of mine, when I started the Prosperity Task Force, told me, "You're going too slow." And she happens to be aficionada de los Spurs, okay. Le gustan los Spurs, okay. And I told her, I said, how long did it take the Spurs to win the championship? And she said, well, I think it was 20 years. Okay. So I started a team that I'm going to try to build into a championship team, and you want me to win the Super Bowl the first year? Okay. So things take time. And since I'm an accountant by profession, and I do economic analysis for a living, I know that we have to have a short-term plan, a plan today, a plan for tomorrow, and a plan for the future. Why am I going to recruit a company today to offer them something I don't have? I'm not going to get them, okay? So what do I have today that if I go after a company, I have what they're looking for? But I can't recruit all the companies that are looking to come here. So I says, okay, what is missing? So let's say there's 10 things missing. Well, some of those 10 things are infrastructure that I don't have. Let's say rail, as an example. A seaport that requires more capacity. Well, why am I going to try to recruit those companies
if you don't have it?
if I don't have it? But I realize that I need to have it later. So out of the 10 things, hey, I can get 4 of those things within the next 5 years. So I know that in the next 5 years, I'm going to have those things that I didn't offer yesterday because I didn't have them, but I'm going to be offering them, tomorrow in the short term. But in the long term over here, the jobs over here and what the companies are going to be doing over here are going to be very different. Technology is just moving so rapidly. So how do we prepare infrastructurally, and how do we prepare the people, the kids that we're graduating to meet the jobs of the future and for us to be competitive to the companies that will be here in the future? That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that takes a combination of science and dedication and work, and no one can do it by themselves. That's why we have to do it together. That's
the main thing, like convincing everyone to work together towards the same goal. Because unfortunately, no one, sometimes they could think about the same things, but they don't work good as a team, and it's also a struggle to put them together. It's a problem and a struggle just to be prepared. Because I've heard other, examples of cities or regions that are trying to do this, and like you said, even if you start preparing, you're already late to some of the things.
Yes.
You're always late. Even if you do 100% of your efforts and you have everyone lined up doing exactly what they need to do, you're always late.
And we have to be careful, Luis, because we're going to get a reputation, whether we want it or not. We're going to get a reputation. So when somebody comes here, what's the impression that they're going to have? I want them to have the impression that this is an area that they feel happy and comfortable with. My daughter was married to a boy from Belgium that came here to play tennis. And 5 of his team members were also from different parts of the world. They all came to play tennis in a local university here, and they all stayed, and they all married local girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell them when we would meet, said, "What's wrong with you people? Se quedaron aquí. No se regresaron a sus países. ¿Por qué?" And they all said, "This became home. We were very comfortable here. We liked the people. We liked the culture." So how do you communicate that with somebody that's not from here? Well, you can't build a relationship unless they come here and experience that. So that's why we have to work together to identify the things that people are looking for. And I want to tell you that what everybody appreciates and looks for is love, is attention. That's a simple thing.
Feeling welcome.
Feeling welcome.
And that's one of the things that it was one of my questions or things that I want to discuss with you, because sometimes we pay a lot of attention as to we need to have infrastructure, like you say, road, industrial parks, housing, this and that. But in reality, we have to convince all the family members. So when they come, because sometimes their wife or the husband will ask, "So what I'm going to do when I'm there? What is it I can do?
Well,
how can I feel welcome there?"
If any husbands out there think you're the boss, ha ha. Okay, we all have.
That's why I said.
Hey, we all have a woman. We all have a woman that we have to take care of. So that's absolutely true. That quality of life is extremely important. I think we had this discussion before when we were recruiting a surgeon to McAllen. The surgeon asked me, says, "So what kind of tennis programs do you have? What kind of tennis center do you have?" And I said, "Are you a tennis player?" He said, No. Well, I play a little bit, but my son is a very good tennis player, and I want to give him all the opportunities in the world. So to him, the most important thing was what kind of tennis facilities and programs we have. So that means that different things are what would attract different people here. So that's why we had to find out what they are, so that we can make them available.
I think we've done a lot of things right. I think there's a lot of things that can be done also. I think the county is located geographically where in a very unique area for both Mexico and the United States, because there's a corridor that comes from all the way from Mexico. And we know that Mexico and the United States are commercial partners and are going to be. Regardless of what's going on, they have to be. That cannot be stopped. And this corridor has grown because of that, because it's the main corridor from connects all Mexico. They put a lot of money. The previous administration in Mexico put a lot of money in the infrastructure, highways and all of that, coming all the way from south to here, the border. And then from here is very unique, so you can go all the way to the East Coast. And so that's something that's an advantage that we have. But that's not the only thing, because we've seen companies saying, that's a great place, but I don't have this, or I don't have that, or I wish that I could have this. And I've seen companies where they say, we tried. They actually came. They tried, but the wife or the husband.
True.
They never felt welcome. They never felt they didn't belong there. And that was the thing, because then you create a family struggle, and at the end they're going to choose, to go to a better place.
Well, I want to say a couple of things. The first thing is, when I had my State of the City for the city of McAllen, I wanted to pay tribute to certain portions of our community. One year it was the Filipino community. One year was the Korean community, and then the Indian community. Well, the ladies from the Korean community, they dressed beautifully. Boy, you talk about beautiful dresses and things like that. And they showed them off. They all came in their formal dresses. And after they did, and we go backstage, they were crying. And I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Judge, we have been here 15 years, and we never felt that we were part of this community until now."
That's great. That's great.
Okay. So to me, that's how important those relationships are. The second thing I want to say, the majority of the people living in the United States are east of the Rockies. Most of the stuff that's coming in from Asia or whatever is going to California and done. But if we were to reroute that to Mexican ports and bring it from Mexico through here, through this area, up, you're going to find that that's going to be really the most advantageous and the cheapest way to be able to do that. We just have to get together with Mexico, okay? And
an easy task.
well, but see, when someone says, "Oh, that's not possible," whatever. Well, look what SpaceX is doing.
Yep.
I mean, no había nada in Boca Chica, and look at SpaceX. There was nothing in Las Vegas, and look at Las Vegas today. So when someone tells me, it can't be done or whatever, sure it can. Sure it can. But I told a mayor from, not a mayor, but a governor from Mexico one time, because I was trying to build the Alta Duas Bridge. I said, Governor, politics can put a bridge anywhere you want it. But politics cannot sustain the bridge if you put it in the wrong place. So why don't we put good economics and good politics together, and then we have a winner.
That's great.
But you may not be able to have a winner with only one of the two. And that's why it's so important for us in public office to always consider the politics, because we can't ignore them, but never at the expense of not going with what makes the most economic sense.
We've discussed, the struggles and what are the plans. I think it's been really, we understand what needs to be done, but now we're limited sometimes as a county. You're limited to what you have within the, limits of the county, and there's an initiative to try to offer something, because you mentioned sometimes like, I wish I could offer this. Especially with the whole nearshoring, people from all over the world looking for places to invest, knowing that this area has been a great area for investment because of the proximity between Mexico and the United States. Because this is the closest. This is one of the borders, one of the crossing points, but this is the closest one. Like when you can be in your house, and then in 15 minutes you can be in a Reynosa production plant. So with all those things, that has created a great place to invest. But then nowadays, everyone's trying to offer what they have. And you mentioned something about sometimes being limited to offer what you can only have. But now there's an initiative to try to be able to gather more things and then offer something as a region and then see, okay, this is what we have. Like not the same to say, okay, I have one airport, when you can say I have many airports and many other things. Can you tell us a little bit about that initiative?
Well, sure, but let me. I always want to go with the why. Why do I want to do this? Okay, and to me, we live in a world that we don't want to do something mañana. We want it today. But the reality is that sometimes I can't have it today. I can have it tomorrow. I can't have it today. So there's a confusion. I think there's a confusion of what we can do today and be successful. So to me, in trying to answer your question, is I'm trying to provide leadership in exercising the best judgment that I can. And what is the best judgment that I can? To say, look, if I go after this company and I sell this company to come to see me, and they come here and it says, me engañates. You don't have what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So this company knows other companies, and other CEOs know other CEOs or whatever. And we're going to get a second company to come over here. But they're going to call this company, hey, you went down there. What was your, no, ni vayas.
Like they say, one bad impression makes 10
one bad
impressions.
Whatever, okay? And I think everybody should agree with me because I think that's true, okay? So then where do we start our journey? First of all, let's understand that we have a journey. We don't have a destination yet. We have a journey to get to a destination. So today, I can serve these companies today, okay? In the maquila business at one time, we were having so much success with the maquila business that more were coming.
Mm-hmm.
But then everybody started fighting for the same employees,
Yeah.
okay? So then the people that were here didn't want any more maquilas come over here because they didn't have the workforce,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So how do we prepare to make sure that everybody benefits? So we have to have a pipeline of both things. We have to have a pipeline of companies coming here and a pipeline of employees, which means we need to have housing, we need to have all of these things. So who's in charge of that? Who has the plan? So we need to have a holistic plan. And who are we? Well, to me, we are Rioplex. We are 4 counties on the American side, and two states or more on the Mexican side, and we've been living together for over 100 years and doing business together. So to me, those are the ones that we need to sit down and say, okay, you're in charge of this, I'm in charge of this, we're in charge of this, you're in charge of that, so that at the end we're gonna have everything that people want. But today, let's only go after the ones we can serve, and then starting to say, look, in 3 or 4 years we're gonna add more to it, and then we're gonna add more to it a little later on. At least that's what I think. There are some people that say, no, let me invite everybody. Okay. And is that a wrong approach? I don't know.
Well, like you said, if you invite someone that is like a high-tech type of thing and we don't have what they need, it's going to be a bad impression, like you said. It's going to be like a disappointment. I think what you're suggesting, which is an organic growth, like let's start with this, what we can offer. First, let's all get together and be on the same page on what we're doing. Let's try to find where we're missing something and try to address that, whether it be education, whether it be infrastructure, whether it be, working together, doing some exercises as to work together, and then invite the companies that we can, pinpoint and target and say,
Sure.
What you need, we have it.
And here's where government comes in. You know, when I was mayor of McAllen, I met with a lot of, some of the Japanese companies and things like that. And I always like to ask people, what do you like? What don't you like? What am I doing that you like? What am I doing that you don't like? What am I doing? What am I not doing that I should be doing, and vice versa, to get information. And one of the very important things that they said is this, we plan 5 years, 10 years, something. So when we come here believing and thinking these are the rules, then we plan to operate over this period of time with these rules, okay? But if you change the rules, okay, then you're changing the ingredients of what we wanted to do. So stable government is very important. Look at what's happening in California. They keep changing the rules, and that's very important.
People flying away.
So government needs to pay attention. Whatever rules you want to establish them and keep them. Keep them for a certain period of time, because if you continue to change them, then that disrupts the normal flow of business. So I want to make sure that we in government have a very strong working relationship with the companies, because to me, I'm a facilitator to a business. I'm in banking. We make billions of dollars of loans in the bank that I'm a board member in, and we don't know more than what our customers know about their businesses. Okay, so how do we learn from them, and how do we prepare to serve them best? Well, we have to speak to one another, talk to one another, learn about one another. And that's what I think that we don't do enough here to be able to have a clear understanding. Because a politician may say, well, I want to have a road here. Well, it's kind of looking at ants, okay? Well, you think the ants would want this trail, but the ants are here. We don't know why the ants are going through this trail, but that's where the ants want to go. So to me, if I have the power to put a sidewalk or a road here or here, then I would like to have that information before I do it here. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes sense. Yeah. And if it's a government needing to stay with the same, rules, we just need you to be county judge for another 10 years.
Well, I'm trying to learn. Like right now, I live in South McAllen and on 10th Street, where our mall is. Trailers come by all the time. That's how they're coming in from the bridge to get into the expressway. What kind of planning was that?
Well, I think like we were saying, sometimes it's very hard to plan ahead of something that is flowing massively from Mexico, because they use these port of entries, and there's no way to stop them. I mean, they just come here because it's better. Some of them sometimes will have to go to another bridge just because they can. But I mean, it's kind of like really difficult to prepare and do all those changes.
Would you say that most people are patient or impatient?
Impatient.
I am impatient. God gave me lots of things, but He didn't give me patience. Okay. So when you're standing in line, and you're standing in line for such a long time, people become impatient and sometimes irate. Okay, so when you go to a grocery store, that's why they have so many cash registers, so you can make it efficient to get in and to get out and whatever. Here in the Rio Grande Valley, we have 5 international bridges, but we only have one bridge for commercial traffic. Well, we've created an hourglass. Well, how can you be efficient with that? So if we learn from efficiency, we learn that we need to have commercial travel, throughout our different ports of entry. We need to connect to a highway system on the southern side and a highway system on this side. So I believe that that's true. So if that's the most efficient way of doing things, then why aren't those our goals? Those should be our goals. And I tell everybody, having built the Alonso Lewis Bridge, we only control one half of it.
Mm-hmm.
The other half is Mexico. So we need to be in partnership with Mexico to do the right things. So if we want to be the most competitive highway, then we need to be talking to each other, and we need to be looking first at economics and then second at politics.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do not want to put something in the wrong place. I want to put it in the right place. And when we have the political support to put it in the right place, then you got a winner.
It's a great thing what you just said, because I think it was last week that I was, going over this whole Rioplex, how it works and everything. We all get excited about the Rioplex thing because it's something that...
Well, you should get excited because it's going to work. It's when I looked at that and I said, my God, look at everything we have, and we're not showing it. We're not telling people what we have.
I agree with you. And the more I see the Rioplex growing this initiative as putting together the efforts of all these counties and cities, not only in the United States, but also in Mexico, so we can all be recognized as a region, and then we can all proudly say, we have this many airports, we have this and that and the other. That's kind of like the excitement of something that you guys are trying to put together, we're all trying to put together, but also you can see it as that's something that we had to do. It's not something that we came out like, oh, this is going to be great. No. We actually had to do that just to be, in the correct or right position to face the growth of the world that is, like you said, I think you said it, is shrinking. And if we don't get prepared, it's going to come and it's going to bite us. And then you're going to see what you're saying, like everyone's doing, not the way we could have planned it.
Yeah. We're graduating around 15,000, and it's probably growing every year, high school students every year. That is more than what 11 other, we have 50 states in the union. We're graduating more high school students than what other 11 states in the union are graduating. That's what you find here. And weather, I was in the service training in Fort Lewis, Washington, where it rains, it snows. We always live in a perfect place here. We have the makings of really the best place to live and the best place to do business, but we can't hope that it happens. We have to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And how do we make it happen? Is we have to have a holistic plan. That's why in one of the things that we have in the Prosperity Task Force is we have the CEO group. Why is the CEO group important? Well, you don't get to be a CEO of a company by not being good. Mm-hmm. You get to be the CEO of a company by being good, knowing more about the business. So if we are meeting with all of the CEOs with international trade here, the freight forwarders, the transporters, all of that is valuable information for us to compile and says, okay, how can we be more efficient? Because if we're going to be competitive with other people, we're like water. When water flows, it goes to the lowest point, and that's what the consumer wants, the lowest prices. Then we can be there through a lot of it through efficiency. But how do we get there? And that's why I'm very concerned that for us, I believe, and I told this to the state of Texas. I said, you have Laredo, where all the trucks are coming and all the things are going or whatever, and they're going to Highway 35 or whatever. Do you know how many car accidents happen? How many people they kill every year? So you want to send more traffic, more things to one place. I said, it doesn't make any sense at all. So for us to share some of that transportation that Laredo is enjoying today with us, it's going to help both of us.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to help both of us. So how do we do that? Well, we have to have Mexico, us, everybody asking for the same thing. You know, when you pray to God, God's not going to answer everybody with a different answer. He's going to answer everybody with the same answers of what he wants. So that's what we're trying to do, you know, with RealPlex, is we're trying to partner with all of the players to identify the things that we need to do to be the most competitive place anywhere. And I think that a big advantage that we have is we have an opportunity to create a workforce that anybody needs here.
We just need cooperation from everyone.
We need cooperation from everyone.
That's very important because, like you said, when you have, you know, a lot of people raising the same voice, the same idea, and then with that CEO group, which what you said, the holistic plan needs someone planning, needs someone behind it saying, we need to do this, we need to address that, we need lobbyists. We need lobbyists on this side and on the other side, and all people getting together, all trying to, you know, be part of the same plan.
Sure.
So we can, because it's going to get to us. It's our decision if we channel it the proper way or not.
Yeah, let me make another comment, which I hope everybody listens to what I'm going to say. When Elon Musk was saying that he wanted to leave California, I suppose I'm going to invite him to come over to Hidalgo County. Why not? And I said, you know, people are going to say, where is Hidalgo County? I was interviewed 3 or 4 times on national TV, because I was the county judge that invited Elon Musk to come to Hidalgo County. Okay, did I think he would come to Hidalgo County? Probably not. But I was able to tell the world about Hidalgo County. It didn't cost me any money.
Yeah. Good advertising and free.
It didn't cost me any money. And I was able to say a couple of things of what we had, and I received some calls from different parts of the world. So this is how powerful what you're doing right now is. You're getting the message out. Someone's going to hear it. Someone's going to see it. Someone's going to get interested. And that's what we have to keep doing.
And the reason I do it, and you and I know for many years, I've been in China, Korea, you know, always promoting this area, this region. And it's very disappointing for me that I can explain, you know, as an attorney, as an international attorney, I can explain how maquiladora works, the permitting, the relationships, the tariffs, all of that, how it works. And they're like, great. You can see them being cultivated. Like, okay, that's great. It sounds really good. It sounds like that's what we need. But where are we? Where are you? I'm like, well, I mean, we're in McAllen, Texas. Where's that? And it's very. I'm not kidding, Judge. I've shown my phone, putting the map, you know, zooming in and saying, this is where we are. And then like, what else is there? Well, it's kind of like, and some people say, oh, people think about the south of Texas is San Antonio. No, there's people that don't even know where San Antonio is. Yeah. So it's the Rioplex thing, and putting this message out will help us saying, hey, come and see. Like you said, probably not all companies will say this is where I want to be, but at least you know where we are. This is at least one of the options in your list. That's what I think, and it's going to help us. You know, it's going to help everyone, people who will leave here.
You know, I was in public accounting, and I would tell my partners, I don't want all the work. We cannot do all the work. If everybody comes to us for accounting, we're going to be bad because we can't serve anybody. But I want as much as we can serve.
That's great.
Okay, I want as much as we can serve. Okay. And that's what we need. That's what we need to get to this point. What is that point that we want to get into? And I'm real excited about what you're doing, what we're doing together. Joaquin Spammer, a mutual friend of ours, he said that he was talking to somebody about about this area, and that person asked them, well, tell me one thing that you have that nobody else has. Joaquin sat down and says, we have SpaceX. He says, and the guy responds, SpaceX is not there, it's in Florida. He says, no, it's in South Texas. He said, no, it's not, it's in Florida. He said, no. So that's the challenge that we have, is, how do we communicate with others about who we are? And I think it starts with building confidence. To me as county judge, if you ask my staff, what's Judge Cortez's number one goal? They'll all tell you is to win the public trust. Because when you win the public trust, you won.
Yeah.
You won, okay? And you win the public trust by exercising good judgment, making good decisions, admitting that you were wrong when you were wrong, and learning from those things. And this is the attitude and the culture that we need to have, because to us, we don't live in a perfect world. There's not going to be a perfect solution to everything, but there's a better way of doing things. And I tell my staff, I said, look, I like to start my analysis with what I call column A. Column A is, what are we doing today? ¿Qué estamos haciendo ahora? Okay. ¿Qué podemos hacer, or what can we do better? That's column B. Okay. So if I have 20 things we're doing today, and I can only move 5 things to column B, I still have others that I haven't, but I improved.
Mm-hmm.
But I improved. But if you don't know what you're doing today, then how can you make changes to something you don't even know what you're doing? So this is why it's important. I go to many meetings, and they say, well, I think we're doing this, or I think this, I think that. I said, you're guessing. I don't want to guess. I want to know. Because if I tell you, what are we doing with economic development, we're running out to do that, well, what?
And that was a response from everyone.
Yeah, well, what?
Yep.
Okay, so when you go to somebody, have you done research of the company that you're going to? Do you know what they produce, what they do, everything about the company? You should know more about the company than them. Mm-hmm. when you go see them. And then you don't go over there to tell them this is what you could do for us. You go over there and tell them this is what I can do for you.
Yeah.
And that's where we're trying to get here, at that level of excellence in promoting our area.
I've witnessed when you go to someone and you are well prepared with all the answers, giving them exactly what they need, they're really attracted to it like this. And I think, like you said, it's not an easy thing. I think we're doing really good. I hope that everyone starts, cooperating more and understanding that at the end of the day, because what you said about accounting, I have the same example as an attorney. Sometimes I'll go to Korea, I'm just giving you an example of Korea, talk to 50 companies, and then 5 of them will come and visit. And then 2 of them will stay here, and 3 will go to another attorney. It's fine. If it's my competition here, it's fine. The company stayed. And it's going to benefit, even if it's not benefit my, private practice, is benefiting us because we're growing as a community. And that's something that if everyone understands it and say, hey, let's all put our efforts together. Because we're trying to do individual efforts. It doesn't work. Because what can you offer? You're limited. But if you do it as a region. So that's why I really like the Rioplex. And like I said, I'm really excited about the Rioplex initiative because it encompasses all of it. And it's cooperation, and it's a lot of work, but it's a start. And I think we're doing it in the right way so far.
Well, just imagine me being in a leadership position as Mayor of McAllen, being involved in economic development, being a board member of a very large bank, being a certified public accountant, dealing with businesses all my life. And I saw a presentation that showed me what you find in Rioplex, and I was impressed. And I didn't know Well, we had everything that was in that
It's
presentation.
impressive. When you see everything together,
Yeah.
it was my same reaction.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, we do have a lot of things.
Yes.
Why don't you see them together?
Yeah.
Well, Judge, anything else you want to add to this conversation? It was great, talking to you as always. This is the first time we actually do it in front of cameras. We've done this before privately.
Well, Luis, what I want to say is this, because I'm very excited and pleased with the people of the Rio Grande Valley. I formed what I call the Anti-Poverty Task Force in 2019. And I said, how do I start? So I went to the academic people in UT-RGV for academia to help me. And we were going in circles because it's a very complex issue. So we changed it to the Prosperity Task Force because they felt anti-poverty gave it a
negative,
wrong connotation. So I said, look, why have we failed in some of the initiatives that we wanted to do? Because it was too heavy of a load. It was too complex, too heavy of a load. So as analysis myself, I said, okay, Richard, you're in charge. Don't hire anybody else. You're in charge. What are you going to do? So I said, okay, well, what is my goal? My goal is I want to take people that are in poverty, that I want to make them more productive. I want to move people out of the welfare line to the taxpayer line. How do I do that? Well, the first thing I need to know is, well, who are they? How do I get a hold of them? Okay. And can I help everybody over here? No, I can't help a 65-year-old veteran that's blind. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can only take care of him. But I can take care of a 30-year-old that has 3 kids. He's underemployed. He's intelligent. He's physically strong. He just needs to create human capital. That one I can help. So it started with who do I want to help? What population I want to help? So let's move over here. But how do I start that process? We have 9% of our kids that are 16 to 19 years old are not going to school and are not working. Well, wait a minute. How can we have 9% of our 16 to 19-year-olds not working or going to school? They've used poor judgment. So to me, mentorship, I said, those people come from sometimes broken homes. They didn't have love. They didn't have the things they needed to develop into a productive member. So let's assign them a mentor. Well, hold on just a minute. Different people have different skills. So let's have a counselor come in here with that person and the mentor and says, hey, you can be a welder, you can be a plumber, you can be an electrician, you can be all of those things, okay? But wait a minute. I'm married. I have a mortgage. I have 1 car. How can I transition to my job that I need my job today to feed my family? So then we needed somebody in the financial group to help us finance that person to move in that path we wanted to. So I said, okay, so I need to break it down in pieces. 1, the administrative side, who are they? Second part, the mentorship. How do we give advice? How do we help them make better decisions? Counseling, how do we know how path to send them to give us the highest probability of success? A financial group, hey, they need financial support. How can we finance that thing? So let's say we figure all that out. Well, who's going to do the training? So we needed the people to do the training, the education, or whatever. So I broke it down into pieces. So I said, look, you mentors, don't worry about anything, just mentor
This part.
Counselor, don't worry about anything. Just don't worry about anything. Because if we put them all together and you're going to worry about all those things,
overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming. So then let's take an arbitrary Juan. God, we put Juan through the whole thing, and he's an accountant. And he can make $75,000 or $80,000 a year. So we go look for a job, but there's no job. Okay, so that's what was happening here, that we were creating some human capital, but the jobs were not here. So we had to be equally as good as the development of jobs so we could match that human capital with the jobs. So we broke it down into those pieces. And to me, we haven't built a championship team yet, but we're on our way.
That's great. That's great. It's really exciting what's going on right now. I know it's a lot of work. You said it the first time you presented with this. It's a lot of work, but if we, like I said, if we have all the cooperation from all the key people, it's going to work. And then we're going to be able to place this region in everyone's map, which is the end goal, to be considered. Like you said, not everyone's going to stay, but at least they're going to consider it. Judge, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being with us.
I appreciate you having me here, and I appreciate what you do. I listen to you, and,
thank you.
I like a lot of the information that you present. You know, to me, knowledge is power.
Thank you.
And the more knowledge and information we have, the better we are. So thank you for that.
No, thank you. Friends, this was Judge Cortez. Please subscribe to our channel and follow us on our social media platforms. Thank you very much. Thank you, Judge.